Assalamu alaikum, and a very good afternoon to everyone. I would like to welcome you to this Think Ahead series by ACCA, which has gone virtual this time around. And before that, I hope that everyone is doing pretty well and doing safe. We'll just begin quickly with a brief introduction of myself and what this session is all about, what ACCA Think Ahead series is all about, and then I'll briefly introduce our presenter today, who has kindly spared some time to join us and deliver this thoughtful series. So, I am Amir Salim. I am the Business Development Manager at ACCA Pakistan, and we have been doing ACCA Think Ahead series for quite some years now. This primarily is targeted towards employers, members and future members of ACCA, whereby the core purpose of the discussion and conversation is bringing value in terms of capacity building, skills building, and of course, build up of the knowledge with the recent and latest insights, researches that are being conducted by ACCA all across the year. So for the flow of the session, हम ये कर रहे होंगे कि that we'll quickly go through a brief profile of Mr. Jawad, who is our today's guest and the speaker. And followed by that, we'll be handing it over to him for the presentation. And after that presentation, we'll have the Q&A open for you guys. Primarily, this is a virtual edition, so I would request if all of the questions that you guys have, you can put those in the chat box. And we would be concluding the session. Excuse me. We'll be concluding the session with the feedback form. I'll share the link of that feedback form with all of you in the chat or question box. So you can open that link and fill the feedback form accordingly and give us your input. How can we further improve the session? So let me quickly welcome Jawad Saab. Jawad Salim is a very senior and professional accountant. He has been in the industry for around 20 years. He started a career with PwC, followed by his journey went through various reputed names of the industry, not specifically to the accountancy particularly, but also to the other corporate sectors, retail, and as well as other sectors. So very warm welcome to you, Jawad sir, and thank you for sparing time for us to deliver this session. And I would now like to hand it over to you, and you can definitely walk us through the ethics and trust in a digital age, how you believe that this is of paramount importance, and how the stakeholders and also employees can be ethical and drive the factors of trust in a digital age. So over to you, Jawad. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you very much, Amir, for the introduction, and very much to the ACCA fraternity as well to invite me again. I'm speaking on a very important topic today, which is about ethics and trust in building in digital age. So, so for the audience, so this presentation is basically based on a research work. So before getting into this research work, because we will be focusing more to research later on, so I will be just opening up my narrative or sharing my narrative, bringing things in a practical perspective. So before going into all this stuff, let's see what's happening in our daily life these days. Probably mostly all of us are going into malls for shopping, and into restaurants as well, especially after COVID-19. The main restaurants or the bigger restaurants or cafes, what they've done is like they have introduced a QR code based menu. So where what you do is like you go there, you scan the QR code with your mobile, and there onwards you get the menu downloaded in front of you, and there you ordered afterwards. This is one thing. Just keep this thing in mind. And then in most of the cafes or in most of the shopping malls, once you enter there, you are given the option of logging into the web Wi-Fi of that particular shopping mall. So have you guys ever noticed that what sort of risks being involved down there once you are logging into these Wi-Fi's or these scanning these QR codes? So to me, this digital age is coming up with lots of things and lots of risk going forward. Like again, I will be sharing one of the practical perspective in one while I was working with one of the hypermarkets. So we wanted to introduce Wi-Fi for our customers. And why we wanted to introduce Wi-Fi for our customers is it's not only for their convenience, but we also want to see or also want to track their movement within the stores. That which area are they visiting and how commonly if you are visiting an FMCG area, then how common you are going to light household or heavy household products like ACs and the rest of the stuffs. So in a way, just to switching in or switching on your thought process, do you think it's ethical? Like for a customer base, it's just like you are giving a facility of getting a Wi-Fi down there. We are giving you login because afterwards you will be getting the offers, latest offers at the stores. That's how they used to advertise it. So do you really think it is ethical down there to, to regulate or to monitor the movement of the customer within the stores, or even if it's not ethical, or if it's ethical, how many of us once entering into the stores or into the malls are bothering to read the terms and conditions? So this is how this digital world is popping up. How many of us, I'm not sure if any one of you have got any emails from Google lately whereby they are sharing on monthly basis your complete location map. Where have you gone? I was pretty surprised 1.5 years back probably when suddenly I got an email popped up in my Google account whereby they have shared with me wherever I have been in the last 1 year or so. So they have been tracking me through my location services or my Google usage over the period of time. So I wasn't aware of that at a particular time, or probably if I'm aware, if I'm not bothered about it. So how many of us are bothered about it? So these are certain things. Just really, this is what digital age is all about. You are doing things without realizing the impact of or the risk being involved on there. So based on this narrative, like this is just to bring your thought process on that what sort of risk are we facing, and how are we being tracked, and let's move on to the practical aspects in terms of corporate structure in upcoming slides. So this particular research which we'll be talking about today is done by ACCA, I think probably a couple of years back from 2017 and 2018, whereby they have involved the primary purpose of the research work is to gauge the impact of digital world on the ethics and values, and how the ethics and values are playing how the accountants are playing their part in terms of their values once it's all about digital. We will discuss in a while. So before going into the report itself, let's go to the report, how the report is structured. So first of all, the individuals, okay, even before going to the report structure, let's see what has been done actually. So this report is a future outlook. It's not about the past, happened in the past. It's more about how the values and ethics have been emerging with a period of time with the digital age. Then it's also focused on application of these ethical values. Then third part is about it's a global narrative. Like they have the survey is done over 10,000 plus accountants and 5,000 plus C-level executives across 150 plus countries. And then afterwards, the detailed research has been done in terms of the practical aspects, 100 plus financial or senior finance executive or finance professionals. So, and of course, the support is from different organizations like IFAC, ISPA, and the rest of the organizations who are giving the support in terms of conducting research work. So how does this report actually tells, and how this report structured before, so that we can well understand how that go? So first thing first, that the research work has primarily, what it did is like they tried to understand the value of ethics in terms of the individuals and C-suite executives or the finance professionals. That do they value the ethics at this point in time? Do they really think it matters or not? So first thing first, we will discuss about that. Then afterwards, the board moves on and they discuss about the experiences. How what are the experience of the individuals down there against regarding these ethics in a digital age. We will discuss about application of these ethics under certain digital themes. Once we talk about digital themes, we are talking about cybersecurity, we are talking about big data, we are talking about artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. We will discuss them in a while. And then afterwards, the responsibilities. After the research work, the idea at the end is about the responsibility of the professional accountant in this particular age or the digital age. And last thing is what sort of a support a professional accountant would need in order to get all these things aligned. So moving on with respect to value. So first, the question being asked is that how strongly you believe that, or how important is the value of ethics in terms of the digital age? Do ethics really matter? If we that's why I built the narrative, because otherwise if I keep on moving on the research it will get boring. So that's why I built a narrative. Like, do you really think that hypermarket down there was while tracking the movement of the customers within the stores is an ethical behavior or not? So in this evolving digital age, like with Amazon Go, with these sort of QR codes that we have just discussed within the cafes for downloading for downloading the menu down there, do you really think what sort of what are they doing with your data out down there? Is it ethical? Is it unethical? What is this ethical, unethical? So everyone, like if you talk about these individuals who have been researched, that almost 9 out of 10 accountants believe that ethics is important in this digital future, and they have a much more role to play as compared to the history. In this fast-paced technology change, the role of the judgment, the sort of judgment which we are supposed to use within our daily life in terms of deciding as a decision maker in terms of financial dilemmas or in terms of operational perspective, is much more important. Then, as far as it's not only the finance professionals who think in that way, even the C-suite or C-level executives thinks the same way. Majority of them thinks that the role of ethics in this digital world is extremely important. So that is for sure. So everyone understands the value of ethics. The research states that they understand the value of ethics. Now, next thing which we'll discuss it about the extent of ethics and trust. How is ethics and trust being linked? So as a professional accountant, whether it be in business or whether it be in practice, the person you are reporting is making a lot on you, is trusting a lot on you. To me, for any finance professional, the basic element whereby we are able to convince our management or we are able to convince our colleagues or seniors or the sponsors of the company or even in the practicing firms, your partners or senior managers, is they trust on you. What you are saying, they trust on that perspective based on your professional judgments. So how is it that important in terms of digital age as well? So as I told you that in terms of in digital age, the element of judgment increases. Like for the sake of, again, if we go back to the example of the hypermarket, that whether is it if you are being an accountant, your manager has asked you about the fact that does tracking of an individual within the store is ethical or not ethical. Now there is no right answer to it. It's your ethical judge, it's your judgment being involved, and then the more they trust on you or trust on your judgment, they see that whatever the decisions you are taking within this digital world, you are complying with all the ethical parameters which are being which are part and parcel of your ethical code of conduct by your authorities, whether it's being integrity, whether it's being showing professional competence and due care, or whether it's be keeping the confidentiality perspective aligned, so on and so forth. So trust element is very important. That is for sure. And in the most of the research, the people who have been involved in research work have, whether it be from C-suite or from the finance professional background, believes on this fact. The next part is like is for the perspective of again understanding the importance of ethics in perspective of public interest. So we have talked in our first slide. We have talked about the value ethics being given. The next slide we have discussed it how ethics and trust are important. Now the next question being asked: do the accountants themselves believe? Do you yourself believe that you are acting in the public interest? So we talk a lot about ethics. We have done a lot of research work down there. But do you really believe? Do the auditors, accountants, or professional accountants in business or in practice, do they really believe that they are acting in public interest? That's a very valid point, because everything is being driven by you yourself. Whether all those ethical values are coming in from your own self, do you believe on them or not? Are you acting in the public interest or not? So the research work states that those who are employed, those who are employed believe that are more inclined towards public interest and than those who are not employed. Like 4 out of 5 being individuals who are employed believe that they are acting in the public interest. They focus more over the public interest than those who are not employed. So the essential part of so what does that mean? What's the key difference? So why once you are employed, you are doing things in a particular way. You are pretty much motivated. Your more main perspective is to adding value in terms of business. Unfortunately, once you are not employed, then probably this is what I think, because I was not part of the research work, but this is what I implied, that those who are not employed most probably must be first thinking on getting things done, getting the job first, or getting on the job first, and then think about all those ethical parameters. This might be origin of concern down. The next question is which has been asked in this the same research is about the fundamental principles. Does with this digital age, does these fundamental principles change? The principles of integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional competence, professional behavior, does they remain the same or they change? So to me, as far as to me, and I agree with those who've been involved in this research, is like, yes, they are still relevant. Your core basic ethical values are relevant. Whatever sort of judgment are you are taking, you need to show, you need to be honest, you need to avoid bias, you need to keep the confidentiality, you need to keep up with your professional competence. You need to keep going on with your continued professional development, and in all your judgments, you need to show your professional behavior. So whether it's with digital age or whether it's with non-digital age, these principles remains intact. Even to me, in the digital age, they are much more important, especially the perspective of professional competence and due care. We will discuss in a while why I'm saying that. So this was the importance of value, that how these people in order to judge that do they still value the role of ethics within the digital age. So this first part was about that. The next part is about the experiences. What was the experience of people in terms of ethics in the digital age? So the research was done in 2017-18, and in that at that particular point in time, it says that 1 out of 5 individuals being interviewed in this research work shared that they have faced some ethical dilemmas in the last 12 months. So that is a significant minority. So 1 in the 5 still to me is like every 5th organization. If there are 5 organizations being there, every 5th organization is the professional accountants are facing this ethical dilemmas. And the main other point of concern is like the 2 out of 5 did not even report that. That is again very this is if you're facing a challenge, 2 out of 5 are not reporting it. This could be, and there could be any reason to it. Maybe they don't have a formal procedure to report, or maybe they're feeling any threats in terms of their like we always talk about the threats to the ethical values. Like we talk about manipulation threat, familiarity threat. So you must be aware of those, and I'm not going to the basics in this presentation. So there are multiple threats to our ethical principles. So maybe there some of them are compromised, or maybe there is no proper mechanism in place uh, to respond to those ethical dilemmas. So next part is like which was the next perspective in terms of application. So what was the main principle that has been compromised? So they say that the principle of integrity, that was the number one point. The principle of integrity, they are unable to keep the integrity aligned. This is the most challenging part, the most compromised. Being honest, within the profession. If you look at the professional behavior and due care, is coming in second last. But before going any further with this presentation, do keep in mind about this thing that as of today, they feel that integrity is the most important, while professional competence and due care is coming at second last most compromised principle. So keep this in mind, and
अच्छा जवाद
we will
साहब
discuss
सॉरी
it.
आपको सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट आई बिलीव स्लाइड्स जो है ना वो मेरे ख्याल है आपकी डिस्कशन के साथ साथ मूव होनी चाहिए तो आई बिलीव आप डिस्कशन को आगे मुझे बताइएगा मैं स्लाइड चेंज कर देता हूँ
अच्छा आप अभी आप स्लाइड्स मूव नहीं कर रहे ओके फेयर ओके सो वी आर एट स्लाइड नंबर probably because I'm using the other so we are at slide number 12 already. I thought you were
अच्छा
moving it. I was not following up with you.
yeah so that
We are at slide
sort of
number
was
12 already.
so
I'm not
just let me know what's the title.
Its integrity was cited the most frequent as compromise principle.
I'm not sure. We really apologize. We just need a minute. हम इसको sort कर लेते हैं. Just give me. इस पे हैं आप जवाब साहब?
जी बिल्कुल. जी बिल्कुल.
So now you
now
can. And just let me know whenever you want me to change the slide. I can do that for you.
Fair enough. So I thought that you were following. So that's fine.
Yeah.
So that's what we are discussing. That integrity is one of the principles which, at the current circumstances, they think that is being compromised. However, professional competence and due care is coming in second last perspective, and we will just keep this in mind, and we will discuss it in a while. So moving on to the next slide. The next question was that how does your C-level executives think that whether the professionals in business are aligned with the or are aligned for this digital age? Are they ready? So you can see the majority of them, like 52% says that 52% saying that they are somehow ready, and it is very significant, very minor perspective says that no, they are not. They still need some more to build up their competence in terms of digital readiness. But majority of things, somehow things, either they are ready or they think they are competent. So this is a good part to me. This implies that the majority of the C-level executives or C-suite executives thinks that accountants are keeping their same abreast with the digital age or digital perspective. So thanks to our, I probably think thanks to our professional accounting bodies who are keeping us aligned in terms of these, in getting these continuous professional development activities in place. So so next, moving on is about the application. So it's a research work. So I'm just sharing numbers, and as we go through application and the responsibilities part, we will go into more exciting or more interesting things for you. So now coming to the application, how does it apply? So in order to apply these things, they have taken few of the digital themes in perspective. So just a second, let me see if I'm good. So, Amir, we are moving on with the application perspective. Please move on to the next slide and another slide, please. Yeah. So, as far as the digital, once we talk about the digital perspective of this application, so they took some themes around. So, what are these 6 themes? So, the first is if we move on to the themes perspective, the first one is about cybersecurity. They discuss about cybersecurity. The next theme is about artificial big data and analytics. They talked about once the application perspective comes in, they talk about cryptocurrencies. They talked about automation, they talked about artificial intelligence, and they talked about the technology and big data, and as well as the big data as well. So these are few digital themes that has been discussed. So we are talking about cybersecurity. We have been listening a lot about it. We are talking a lot about big data and analytics. We are talking a lot about artificial intelligence. Like if I again go back to my initial example, we have talked about Amazon Go, how is that working. Then we talked about the movement, the tracking the movement of the customers within the stores. This is about big data, that how they use that data around, because of millions of customers coming in, and how are they using it. And then we will talk about this cybersecurity perspective in couple of other slides coming in. So we won't be able to talk about all these 6 digital themes, but one thing is for sure that if you want to go into details about all these 6 things, this detailed research work is available on ACCA's website, and you can go one by one on each of the perspectives. However, today, due to time constraint, we will only be discussing about the role of cybersecurity and how did that go. So moving on to the next slide is about once we talk about cybersecurity, let's talk about the scenario where we are talking about having ethical hackers on board. So what is probably you guys know what is ethical hacking. So ethical hackers are the persons who have been employed by the organization. Like if I keep it to as you are from a professional accountancy side, so you might have done the tax audit of most of your clients, whereby you are hired to look into the perspective of all the processes of the organization, and afterwards you tend to give them a report in terms of what sort of compliances and non-compliances are in your system with respect to the tax, and you call that tax audit perspective, whereby you do the audit completely for with respect to all the tax laws within the country and give a report to the organization. So this is how ethical hackers work. So they have been hired by the organization to see the weaknesses within the system. Now these weaknesses in the system, once it's come to ethical hacking, is about cybersecurity, network security, cybersecurity. This is all about it. So ethical hackers are being hired by the entities in order to gauge the any weaknesses in their second network and security. So moving on next slide. So let's discuss one of the examples. So example is about one of the larger companies. About what I would like to do is like you guys to do is to think about it. There might be not be any right or wrong answer, but we will keep building our narrative about the values in next couple of slides as well. So a very large company is concerned about the potential weaknesses in network security, giving unauthorized. So if there anything which is within your network which is giving unauthorized access to any sensitive information, they are pretty much concerned about it. Maybe are our system being compromised at certain point in time, so they are worried about it. So they have their in-house all those security features available. The IT team is doing pretty well. Their compliance teams are doing well. They are doing all those surveillances, but still they have a concern that is there any data leakage. So what they did is like they hired an ethical hacker down there to investigate what's happening. So I think what happened is like that hacker starts investigating this large company to uncover any network security access issues. Now this company is what this company is doing is it has some partners. What they used to do is like they log into the company system and they order. Instead of sending the POs by mail or by hand, what they do is they have a system in place whereby you can order it directly to the website of the entity. So there are 15 or 16 distributors or partners down there who are doing this activity. So what happens is like there's a system feature that after every 15 minutes, if your partner is inactive, the system logs you out. So your partners are logged in for the orders, and if after 15 minutes you are logged out. Like this is a pretty much common feature if you are even using your own systems or there are multiple websites available, or especially the banking websites. If you're logged out, if you're logged in and you are inactive for a certain period of time, it gets logged out. After 10-15 minutes, it logs out itself. And if you try to do an activity, it says that please re-log in again. So this is sort of a feature available down there. Which the main company has built in order to keep certain security features alive. However, one of the partner company employee did is like he has run one of the scripts within the system whereby every 14th minute he used to create a fake order and deletes it. So what that helps is like after every 14 minutes he shows himself active, he creates an order and deletes it. This is done through a script, and it's very easy to write such scripts within this within the system whereby you have been shown logged in or you keep logged in a system. So the security feature of the main company or large company is failed down here, whereby after 15 minutes of inactivity you are supposed to log out. But in order to avoid inconvenience, one of the partner company employees wrote a script, and every 14 minutes he places an order and deletes it afterwards because it's a fake order. However, there was an error within the system, within the script, that these orders are not being deleted. So, Amir, if you can go to the next slide, which is third with respect to this example. So, what the hacker noticed is like these orders are not getting deleted because there was an error in the script. He has been able to identify that. And through further investigation, he has been the ethical hacker entered into the system of the partner company, and he came to know which user ID and password to use and which is a user who is doing that. Now, the question: one thing is for sure, the company has hired him to find any compromises with respect to security, which he did very well. He has been able to identify one of the partner company's employee who is doing an unethical activity down there. One thing is very good that he has been able to identify a compromise within the system. But see, if in a larger perspective, he has done one thing which might expose us is by expose the company is like he has entered into the partner's company system without even asking to them. So this question arises whether it's ethical or unethical activity. As far as the larger company is concerned, that is perfectly fine because to them, because they have hired the ethical hacker in order to identify any weaknesses within the network or security system. But what has happened? That ethical hacker has gone beyond probably gone beyond the authority he has, and he has entered into the system of a third party which has not hired him. So was it ethical or unethical? There must be some judgment as far as the professional accountant is concerned, as far as the C-level executive is concerned. So these are challenges which comes in. These are challenges which comes in with digital age. Like if we go back to our previous example, which initially while building my narrative, I've shared about tracking the customers within the stores. For fewer people, it's ethical. For few may think no, they are tracking us. It's not right. But on the other hand, probably company says the aftermarket company at that point in time says that we have a term. It's been mentioned in the terms and condition. How many of us read those terms and conditions down there? So the question and the level of judgment being involved in understanding whether this particular aspect is ethical or unethical, there's lots of judgment is involved. So I leave it on to you guys to think whether it's been whether you think it's ethical or unethical, or probably you can write in this chat box about what you think, and later on once we are ending the question and answer session, we can discuss it further. Whether you think this hacker has done the right thing or the company has done the right thing and into the partner's website. Is ethical or not ethical? I would like to maybe you can share your comments within the chat box and we can look into it later on while we are ending the presentation. So we have already discussed this slide, which is like about did company behave in an ethical behavior. So we are moving on. Now coming back to the future. So further, this as I've shared with you initially that the research being done with 100 individuals. Again, while the research parameters were broad, they have involved 10,000 plus professionals, but there were 100 professionals who were going deeply involved in this research. So if you remember that earlier, what we have seen is like integrity. As of current scenarios, they think that integrity is one of the principles that has been compromised. But in terms of digital theme for future, now everyone says that professional competence and duty is more important. Why do I say that? Why do they think that this is the way? This is now the reason is like until unless you understand the technology. I mean, you can move to next slide, please.
Gee, do we need to move on?
Yeah, please. The enter click, please. Yes. So until and unless we have this. No, yes, the back one, the previous page.
Gee, sure.
So until and unless you understand the technology or digital perspective of it, you won't be able to pass on your own judgments. Like for sake of an example, if you're not aware of how the big data works, you might not be able to pass on your judgment or apply your values down there. Or if you're not aware about cryptocurrencies, how will you be able to audit any entity which is involved in cryptocurrency? Same goes for if you're not aware of not aware about the cybersecurity perspective, and how will you be uh, auditing any entity which is involved in such threats. If you're not aware about how these platforms work, for in sake of an example, these days, if you look at this taxi services like Careem, who are providing ride services, Careem or Uber, if you're not aware how they work, how will you be able to apply your understanding, apply your international financial reporting standards or to standards from here until unless you understand how these are working, how the customer is ordering a ride, what sort of security features being compromised, what sort of data are they once you're installing an application on your mobile, what sort of permissions are they asking for, what sort of threats does it impose. Like again, if I come back to a larger perspective, uh, one of the things which being a professional accountant, you are looking once you're going for an audit, you are evaluating an entity with respect to the going concern. And one thing which is internationally, locally, as well as rather globally, in terms of if you talk about Europe, they are giving a lot of weightage to GDPR, which is data protection rights of the consumer. Certainly, last 2 years, you are seeing that every other website which you have been part of, you are registered with them for last 10, 12 years, but then suddenly they are sending you emails asking for your permission that whether they can keep your data or not. So same goes for same this thing applies. Like say for sake of an example, if you're not aware of how these platforms work, and once you're downloading an application on your mobile, you are compromising one of the security features. Like every other application you install, they ask you for multiple permissions, like towards your camera or to your contacts or to your message or to your emails. They ask for the permissions, and sometimes we are not bothered about it. Okay, we give the permissions. Someone, if you don't give the permission, they don't want to allow you to use this particular application. So why I'm saying that like taking example point Kareem, I'm not saying that it will happen, but just take an example that you have installed the application of Kareem, and you have given the you have in order to get a ride, and you have given the permission of looking at your contacts or access to your contacts, access to your camera down there, access to your location down there. So you have already given them a lot of data down there. And on the other side, you are also giving them your credit card numbers in order to get the right. You don't want to pay cash on spot, so you are giving them your bank details. Or some people do use that option as well. So once it's, say for sake of an example, at one day you are the auditor of that company, and you have just issued a report, and later on you came to know that, and you have given them everything with respect to the going concern perspective. You are given a go ahead, and you say that everything is fine. And the very next day, in the newspaper, you see that there is a major security breach down there, and the company has been imposed with heavy penalties, and the company might not be able to continue going forward. Just for the sake of an example, what will happen? Do you really think that being a professional accountant, you have done all those security checks or all those audit parameters or security parameters or compliance parameters being applied down there? And how have you skipped? This is what digital age is coming in with. So this is the sort of challenges we are talking about, and that's why we say that we need to keep up with now with every passing day. Probably integrity and honesty is one part to it, but in future, professional competence and due care will be playing a much more role. You have to keep yourself aligned. What's happening in the organizations in days to come? What they are coming up with. Uh, the traditional audit approach might not work with e-commerce entities. The traditional audit approaches of auditing a brick and mortar store might not apply in terms of e-commerce. Even traditional e-commerce approaches might not apply to Amazon Go. So you have to keep yourself aligned. You have to keep building up on your professional competence in order to move on with the digital world. So professional competence, that's why it's considered one of the important aspects. So I mean, move on to next slide, please. So responsibilities. Next about responsibilities. What sort of responsibilities? Most of us we have already discussed, but we will go to the slide. So move on to next slide. What sort of responsibilities the professional accountant is supposed to build in? So next part is about. So move on to next slide, please. Okay. So professional accountants, how do they contribute in terms of ethics in digital age? So everyone, the majority of them thinks that it comes from us, within us. We have to show ethics within ourselves. We have to show all those professional competence, due care. We have to be ethical. We have to be honest. We have to avoid bias. So everyone, as far as professional accountant involved in this research work, majority of them thinks that they can uphold their ethical parameters, their values in the digital age. Once it's come to them, they are agreed. They strongly believe this perspective that yes, we are the one who are responsible for our own ethics, and if we are ethical, we'll be able to run the organization accordingly. We have to drive the digital team accordingly. But on the other hand, it's very surprising that once it's come to aligning the ethical parameters within the strategy of the business, the acceptability, or you can say the number of professional accountants being consider themselves responsible for that, or consider themselves upholding this particular perspective that their ethicals, that the linking the ethics with the strategy or the business. Most of the 56% of them only says that they will be able to do that, or they think that in the current circumstances they will be able to respond properly. Of course, now reason is simple, as we have discussed earlier, that there are lots of complexity and lots of judgments involved on there, and probably this is one particular reason that they are bit uh, uh, they in this given scenario, because the complexity of the system and the complexity of digital and ever evolving digital age, ever evolving technology, they think that they still need some time in order to get things aligned. So this is particular perspective. They think that aligning their ethical parameters in digital age might be challenging for them, because it's pretty much okay. Like we have shared that technology is evolving every passing day. We have shared a couple of examples earlier. We have seen the examples of with ethical hacking. Even there's no yes right or wrong answer to it. Everybody has his own thought process in getting that aligned. Maybe the ethical hacker has done the right thing. He's been hired to have this any security breach to be looked into, or whether they can enter into partner. Yes, if he has identified something, whether he is supposed to enter into the partner's website. So this is how it gets challenging, because lots of judgment being involved. So next part is like if you move on to next slide, then yeah. So what sort of where there is a perceived need for support? So majority of things in okay, it comes from the top. If any in any organization, once we talk about values, once we talk about ethics, it has to come from the top. The message has to come from the top. Otherwise, as an individual, even if you want to follow all those ethical parameters, if you are sponsors of all the C level executives down there, uh, who are responsible to run the organization, or decision makers are not aligned. So if they are not supporting them, that is pretty much it's very difficult to get the ethical parameters, ethical values intact. So message has to come from top. So that support is required. As far as the professional accounting, I think they say that if the management from the top is aligned, it's easy for them to move on. And second part is like the other thing is if you look at the different perspective, the other perspective to it is like they also want that there should be certain proper mechanism in place in order to to report ethics. ethical dilemmas. Say, for the sake of example, if the management from the top is pretty much aligned that okay, we are not going to do any ethical, we won't be compromising anything in terms of anything unethical, then if the organization doesn't have any parameters to report, or if they do not have any mechanism to report, then this message from top might not work. Then it's just we ended up in having a message only. And we have seen in many organizations that they claim to be ethical, but they don't have any particular way in order whereby they can, whereby the auditors or professional accountants being able to report those ethical dilemmas. If you remember the initial slides, which unfortunately you will not be able to see because they have not been able to roll the slides earlier, but it clearly states that 2 out of the 5 people who thinks that they have faced ethical dilemmas have not reported it. And I've shared that it's not only that they are feeling a threat in terms of their uh, in terms of their job or anything, but it might be a reason that they don't have any particular forum to report those ethical dilemmas. So it's very important that the support this professional accountant thinks, it's very important that the message should come from the top. And secondly, there must be a way out. There must be a proper mechanism in place to report those ethical dilemmas. And once we say the support to ethical dilemmas is about ethical code of conduct, is about the ethical committee in place, it's about encouraging people who have reported any ethical dilemmas, and so on and so forth. So this is sort of support they look into. Moving on to the next slide. So just summarizing it from there onwards. So it's more of a research work. So probably it might be boring for everyone because we are focusing more on research work. But if we look at the things in perspective and summarize it, then as of today, whether it be professional accountants in business or the C-level executive, they think that ethics has a strong role to play in the digital world. They also think that the basic principles will remain the same, and they have even more importance. The thing which if you remember, we have discussed in last 40-45 minutes that as of today they think integrity was important, but with the future, with digital theme coming in, they believe that professional competence and due care is important. People need to understand this new technology. Professional competence needs to understand this new technology in order to give the right advice to their sponsors, or if you are a professional accountant in business, or you are a auditor, then in order to do the audit properly, you need to build up on your professional competence as far as the digital perspective is concerned. So, what are action points? So action points are again coming back to the same thing. You need to keep building on your knowledge. Once it's ethical, once the digital world is concerned, you need to keep on looking at what are the latest technologies are coming in business, how are they playing the role in the business, what sort of ethical dilemmas coming in or attached to those new technologies. You need to evolve them in terms of strategic perspective as well, and you need to move on in terms of how to report those ethical behaviors. So there must be a mechanism in place. So this is for the C-level executives that they need to bring in a mechanism in place for as far as the reporting digital reporting any of the digital whether ethical dilemmas in digital age or non-digital age. It's very important to have a mechanism in place. So that's more. This is all about it. So this is nothing new. If you forget about anything in this which we have discussed in 40-45 minutes, if you keep the research work aside, though it's building it's already sharing what our own thought process is. It's already aligned with our own thought process, what we think as an individual. Though we were not particularly involved in the research work, but we are pretty much aligned what they say. With evolving digital world, it's very important for the message which I get out of the research, and for all of you guys who are into the business as of today, whether it's the members or whether it's the affiliate or pursuing the qualification, you need to build up on your digital capabilities and technical capabilities in terms of the digital world in order to move ahead. Because going forward, it's all about digital. It's all about digital, and you have to focus a lot instead of focusing more on technical. You still need to focus on your traditional auditing approach, but you need to keep yourself aligned or keep building on your technical perspectives in order to be able to give the right advice to your sponsors or give your right factual findings to your partners as far as the audit approach is concerned. So if there are any questions, I'm open to it. And probably if you guys have answered to that ethical hacking thing, if somebody have shared anything in chat box, so it would be lovely to look at that.
Gigi, thank you, Jawad Saab, and I would request everyone if they can take some time, and if they have any questions, you can just mention them in the chat box. I believe you would be able to find it on the control panel. तो आप वहाँ पे अपने क्वेश्चंस लिस्ट डाउन कर सकते हैं and we'll be happy to answer. Most importantly, Jawad Sahab, I believe whatever you have shared, we actually hear it all around. Ethics के ऊपर we do listen. बहुत सारी बात उसके ऊपर हो रही होती है all across. इसको मेरा ख्याल है कि प्रोफेशनल जिंदगी के अंदर जिस तरह शामिल करना चाहिए, आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह उसको एग्जांपल्स के थ्रू इस पर्टिकुलर रिसर्च रिपोर्ट जो ACCA ने क्रिएट की है उसके थ्रू बड़ी अच्छी तरह एक्सप्लेन कर दिया. आई बिलीव द ऑडियंस वुड डेफिनेटली फाइंड इट यूजफुल, और रेस्ट assured I would be able to share this presentation with the audience, whoever is part of this conversation with us, this virtual conversation with us, so you can have a better look at it. और आप ACCA की वेबसाइट के ऊपर जाकर भी इसको एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं if you have any sort of concerns, if you want to find out more, dig out more. So yeah, I believe is an ongoing thing. You need to upgrade your skill set. You need to keep up with the latest developments, whatever is happening in the accountancy, particularly with that context of accountancy. और इसके अलावा भी दुनिया भर की organizations जिस तरह भी अपने dilemmas को, challenges को हल करती हैं. You need to understand, because being an accountant, I believe you need to be on top of everything. So that's pretty much it. कोई questions हमें अभी नहीं आए हैं. Maybe you can reach out later to us if you have any of those. जवाब साहब, इसके अलावा आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहेंगे तो प्लीज ऐड कीजिएगा.
That board was the only thing which I would suggest, I would advise all those affiliates is to again pondering on the same thing, that keep yourself aligned with some terms of technology. There are lots of ways to do it. I always suggest that just spare 15-20 minutes of your day on YouTube or on Google or on searching the new technologies with respect to your business or industry you are working for, or the industry you're auditing for, because this will help you keep yourself abreast. And this is, I think, one of the best things you can do to yourselves and to your managers or partners, or if you're industry to your sponsors. But you need to keep yourself abreast, and this will definitely keep you ahead in terms of the lots of people available in the market as far as the resource. So it will be helpful for you to hunt the new positions and going forward, and to grow within the current position as well. So keep yourself abreast with the latest technologies through websites or through YouTube.
जी, थैंक यू सो मच, दैट इज वंडरफुल. आई बिलीव ये आपके तमाम एक्सपीरियंस का निचोड़ है जो आपने हमारे साथ शेयर किया है ऑन दिस वेरी फोरम, एंड वी रियली थैंक यू वंस अगेन. बिफोर वी मूव ऑन, मैं ऑडियंस के साथ ये शेयर करना चाहूँगा दैट towards the end, I actually shared it in the beginning. I believe कुछ लोगों ने in the middle भी join किया होगा session. So we would be having this feedback form for the session, जो कि Google form का link होगा. So I would request everyone, मैं share करूँगा towards the end, और आप अगर उसको kindly fill up कर दें, so we would definitely be able to improve whatever learning we have from this session. So overall experience भी आपका उससे हमें उसकी reflection मिल सकेगी. So moving on to this little bit जो मैं आपके साथ share करना चाहता हूँ, this initiative that we have just been sort of listening to Jawad साहब, जिसके अंदर उन्होंने हमारे साथ बहुत सारी insights share की. So ये एक ACCA का ongoing agenda है whereby we really sort of live with the core purpose of ACCA, जहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे होते हैं bringing good to the public and by creating opportunities for all. So उसी का लिंक एक आपकी रेफरेंस के लिए, आपके इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए मैं शेयर करना चाहूँगा कि that we have been running this 6 digits program. आपके सामने स्क्रीन पे इसकी डिटेल्स भी शेयर हो रही हैं. So just to give you a quick briefing about this is that we really believe कि आपको एक सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन होना जरूरी है. सो उसके हवाले से ACCA ने एक प्रोग्राम डिजाइन किया है जिसका नाम 6 डिजिट प्रोग्राम है. प्राइमरीली इट्स मोर टुवर्ड्स इनकम डिजिट्स फिगर, जिसके अंदर आपको नजर भी आ रहा होगा कि आप अपनी मंथली इनकम को कैसे प्रोग्रेस करके 100K और 1 मिलियन around 1 million K के ब्रैकेट में लेके जा सकते हैं. So the program revolves around imparting around 100 hours of experiential learning, जो कि ACCA कॉम्पिटेंसी फ्रेमवर्क के ऊपर डिजाइन की गई है. और आप जो ट्रेनीज यहाँ पे बैठे हुए हैं सुन रहे हैं कॉन्वर्सेशन को, सो दे आर प्रीटी मच अवेयर कि परफॉर्मेंस ऑब्जेक्टिव्स जो हैं वो मीट करने होते हैं. सो ये ट्रेनिंग जो है उसका एक एक्सटेंशन है. इट डेफिनेटली वुड बी एबल टू हेल्प यू आउट in developing your competencies. So इसके अंदर जो मेजर एरियाज कवर किए जाते हैं वो आपके सामने हैं. उसके अंदर बिजनेस केस डेवलपमेंट, self discovery, how to refresh critical competencies, industry trends, very much जो अभी हमने डिस्कस किया, ethics and professional skills, रोल प्लेस के थ्रू जो है हम इसको इसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग देते हैं that how you would be able to be ethical in a certain situation अगर आपको कोई चैलेंज पेश आता है. So this is the crux of the program. इसके multiple batches run होते हैं annually. There is an intake and then there is a shortlisting process. So this is just for your information, and that if anyone from ACCA fraternity wants to be a part of this program, you can be a part of this program by registering for it. और इसकी विंडो जो है वो आपको ओपन की जाती है, सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर इसकी अनाउंसमेंट्स होती हैं. सो दैट्स प्रीटी मच इट, एंड आई वुड लाइक टू in the end thank you for being part of this session. जैसे मैंने कहा कि आपने इसको डेफिनेटली अपनी जिंदगी के अंदर भी आई बिलीव आप लोग उसको इस्तेमाल करेंगे, अप्लाई करेंगे. इस तमाम जो thoughtful एक टॉक दिया है जवाद साहब ने, वेरी काइंड ऑफ हिम. सो ये तमाम चीजें जो हैं हम जिस तरह मैंने पहले कहा कि हम रोजाना की बुनियाद पे सुन रहे होते हैं, बैक ऑफ द माइंड हमारी चल रही होती हैं, लेकिन एक फोकस्ड अप्रोच शायद हमारी नहीं होती. सो आई बिलीव दिस वुड be the key takeaway from this session. And now it's the time that I would be sharing the link of that questionnaire with you in the chat box. And जब आप ये शेयर करेंगे मेरे साथ अपना feedback, I would be able to provide you with certificates of participation. So ये इसका essential element है. So let me share that link with all of you. Just give me a second. So yes, I believe all of you have received this. आप इस लिंक के ऊपर क्लिक करें, इट्स गूगल फॉर्म लिंक, और आप अपना फीडबैक इसके ऊपर हमें प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं, whatever feedback that you have. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Miss Sonia हमारे साथ हैं. If she wants to speak up, Miss Sonia.
Hello.
जी, we can hear you.
अच्छा, नहीं, I just wanted to say कि it was a very informative session, क्योंकि जो हमें मेन प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं, नॉट जस्ट लाइक ACCS को या की बात कर रही हूँ, मतलब ओवरऑल जो भी कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में है, आपके पास जो लीगल बाउंड्रीज होती हैं तो वो तो बहुत वेल डिफाइंड होती हैं, लेकिन जो एथिकल बाउंड्रीज होती हैं वो इतनी ज्यादा वेल डिफाइंड नहीं होती. बट आई थिंक आज के सेशन में काफी क्लियरली बताया गया था कि एथिकली भी कहाँ पे बाउंड्री लाई करती है, कहाँ आप जा सकते हैं, कहाँ आप नहीं जा सकते या नहीं जाना चाहिए. तो आई थिंक दिस वाज वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव और इट वुड हेल्प अ लॉट क्या कहते हैं इन डिसाइडिंग कि क्या एथिकली करेक्ट है और क्या एथिकली नहीं करेक्ट है.
जी बिल्कुल. Thank you, Ms. Sonia, for your remarks, and thank you so much again for having ACCA with you and having us conduct this session with your staff. So, Jawad Sahab, any last words, or we can just conclude the session?
Well, just thank you very much for the opportunity, and I wish all of them very best of luck. And I would again suggest that keep on building on your skills. And I'm very thankful to ACCA, all those professional bodies who are conducting such sessions for the individuals down. So they really care for you. So I must say they must be thankful to the fraternity of ACCA as well. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Take good care of yourself. And I'm waiting for the feedback form. I believe हमें ये feedback जो है वो जैसे जैसे आप लोग fill up करते जाएंगे, we'll be getting that feedback registered Google Forms के through. And rest assured, I'll be able to send you the certificates based on the feedback form as well. Thank you once again. Allah Hafiz.